Well, the Tampa Bay Rays lost to the Angels, and not in particularly fun fashion either.
This was clunker adjacent,
Yes.
so a lot of things to talk about. So let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. So the Tampa Bay Rays lose to the Los Angeles Angels by a score of 7-1. The Angels are 6-4 on the year, if you can believe it, while the Rays are back below 500 at 5-6. And not a fun game, as you say, Ulises. Clunker adjacent and surprising, because I really thought that Zach Eflin would be ready to deal throughout the season. But that was not the case, as he allowed 9 hits, 5 earned runs, in a Trout dinger across 5 innings and 76 pitches. My impression of Zach Eflin was the hard stuff was not fooling the Angels lineup. Whether it was a four-seamer, whether it was a sinker, whether it was a cutter, it was getting hit hard, it was getting hit often, it was getting hit all over the place, and even the outs were some loud outs as well.
Yeah, and so is that because the pitches were flat, the execution of the location was not there? But man, Trout, he did whatever he wanted with those pitches, and it's a bad omen. This is gonna sound kind of rude, but
are you making a Rendon reference right now?
There you go. Exactly. I don't even have to do it, and you know where I was going. Like when Rendon just hits a single right to start the game, you're like, oh boy,
yeah,
this is not good. Like, I'm sorry, I had that feeling. Of like, oh no. And like, it's just crazy to say, because Anthony Rendon was an amazing player for like 6 straight seasons. He was a really good player. He signs that deal, and then injuries and whatever may have you.
Not caring about baseball anymore. He got his money, and he's moved on. And I'll be curious to see 2 things. If Mike Trout finishes career in an Angels uniform, he signed through 2030. And if Anthony Rendon finishes his career in an Angels uniform, I believe he signed through 2026.
Dude, he's getting DFA'd if he keeps up with what he's doing.
Yeah, it's so bad. I mean, he entered the year or entered this game, this series, I think like 3 for 39 or 3 for 30 something, like no bueno on that front. And then he elevated his average to a whopping 162 after going 3 for 5.
He's like, oh yeah, I got Eflin not dealing today, and Waguespack. Let's go. It's a day for me.
If there's a silver lining out of this, I'm trying to find a couple silver linings.
Please do.
Out of this gross game. It's that you only had to use 2 pitchers. You didn't have to empty out the bullpen. Waguespack got some work, and Eflin did the rest.
That's a tremendous silver lining, because honestly, the whole game, I mean, the offense was really non-existent. I know they had a shot there with men on second and third, and Meade really gave it a ride. Unfortunately,
was the other thing about this game too. That was in the 4th inning. The Rays have runners on second and third, 1 out. It's a 3-0 game in the Angels' favor, of course. Rosario hits a hard liner. First baseman Drury, I think it is, snagged that. And Meade, a long shot at the warning track that ultimately gets snagged by Mike Trout. Who knows? Maybe in Colorado that gets out of there. Maybe in another ballpark that gets out of there. But again, another silver lining. Meade was hitting the balls hard. It just wasn't dropping. And that was the case for some of the other Rays players as well. They were making contact. It wasn't really in the holes or in the right spots. And I think also some of that goes to the guy on the mound for the Angels, Tyler Anderson.
Right.
Soft tossing lefty, quirky, awkward delivery. that usually means fits and trouble for the Rays.
Yeah, it does, and it did. Now they tried to do something with the offense, like the Caballero steal, Trout, or at least it's steal attempt. I liked it, but it's those types of games. Yesterday was the type of game like even if you do something right, the opposition is going to do something wrong, and it's going to work out. Like that throw to second base was not in line. It was not in line, but somehow Rengifo makes a great play, and the runner and Caballeros is like right there. So it was like a sweep tag. Like, those if that throw actually gets to the other side of second base where it probably should have been, he's safe. But those are the things that happened yesterday. Just a very frustrating game all around. But I do agree with you. The only silver lining I can see from this game is the fact that you didn't empty your bullpen. You only used 2 guys. But I think that maybe later on the show, we got to have a conversation about the bullpen.
Yes, we do. We have more to discuss, but first, Ulises, we have to tell the audience something important.
Yeah, and that's that when the Rays get back into town, how about you use Game Time? Okay? You got to download Game Time. It is the place to get your tickets for everything, okay? It's sports, comedy, theater, whatever you like, Game Time has it. They've got these zone deals where you can save a lot of money when you choose a section and then you let Game Time choose your seats. That is a pretty cool thing. And they also have a lowest price guarantee, which means that Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if that is the case. And they have all-in pricing, which means that you can toggle the feature shows total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. That is a pretty cool feature. I would think that every place should have that. Hey, what is the cost for this? The actual cost? Well, Game Time does that for you. So today, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. And today, you can download Game Time, and you will get $20 off when you use code LOCKEDONMLB. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Going back to the game for a moment or two here, I agree with you. It was the 5th inning. Caballero gets on, and I thought that was you got to try to make something happen at that point because the momentum wasn't on your side. It was a 3-0 game, but things were looking bleak. I mean, the Rays had just 3 strikeouts, and yet were only able to put 1 run on the board, and it was, a dumpster run at the end of the game, more or less. But trying to create some sort of havoc. It's an 0-2 count with 2 outs. Your number 9 hitter's up. Like, go ahead, make a decision. Try to put some fire in the belly of your team to get something going. Obviously, it didn't work out, but that's something that I think will be a theme going forward, especially when the Rays are in tough trying moments. It's like, come on, hey, here's the time to steal. Let's go after it. So that's one thing. The other thing, too, is we don't often have an opportunity to watch Mike Trout. I guess we could watch him whenever we want, but him being on the West Coast, us being so focused on the Rays in the East Coast, him being injured over the last couple of years. So if there's anything you take away out of this series, savor the moments and the action from Mike Trout. I mean, he had the toughest part of a cycle, like a couple innings in between the triple and the home run. And this is a guy that if he retired at 29, he'd be a Hall of Famer. He's a lock to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think that he's finally healthy and he's going to continue to prove himself as one of the game's greats. But it's just a case of what's the stat or what's the metric there? He's played in 1 playoff game, or he's only won 1 playoff game in his Angels career.
I think he hasn't actually. I think it's been 9 plate appearances. I think he has. So it's not great. Yeah.
So it's like, Barry Sanders with the Lions, or Tony Gwynn with the Padres, Barry Bonds with the Pirates. I know you're a big fan of Felix Hernandez with some of those bad Mariners years. So amazing player on a crummy team. Although who knows, maybe the Angels find a way to squeak across and finish 500. But based on some of the offensive stats of the guys thus far, Rendon notwithstanding, like their catcher's not hitting 350 for the rest of the year. Renifio is not going to keep doing what he's doing. I don't think Taylor Ward's going to keep doing what he's doing. Mike Trout's the only guy that is putting up the numbers right now, and that might be able to continue through the course of 162. So I just wanted to throw that out there and mention that. So
I feel like, what we've seen from Trout, which was crazy, like he had only driven himself in or something like that before the game.
Through this point, it was all like, all right, nobody else is going to help me out, so I'm just going to hit solo shots, basically.
Like, dude had 5 home runs and 5 RBI.
Yeah.
Man, that is depressing. But look, with Trout and the injuries, yeah, you're right. But I feel like if he's healthy, he can still be an MVP type level player.
100%.
And I think a lot of people around baseball, they like to move on to the next shiny thing. We, as a society, we don't like when athletes are good for a long time, because then we are like, okay, what's the next new thing? Like, let me get excited about the next new guy. Oh, let the young guys play. And I think people have forgotten how good Mike Trout is, like how amazing of a ball player he is. Right. And I think he also has felt that, and he said, you know what, I'm still going to show people up what I can do. And it does seem like it's kind of like a revenge Trout tour of 2024. We'll see. It's always good to have really good players be healthy. Mike Trout definitely fits that category. So if he wasn't playing against the Rays, I would be really happy for him. But it sucks to be on the other end when, you see what he can do. I mean, triple down the line, he still has the pop. He still has the speed. He can make any lineup so good. And I mean, imagine that lineup with the Angels. He carries it, man.
Yeah, he's been carrying it for a decade plus, and a couple years in between with Shohei Ohtani. And I think the other thing too, where obviously the situation of playing in the West Coast, playing for the Angels, but he's not a vibrant personality. He's not out there front and center. So I think he just doesn't quite get the attention of some of these other young ball players that are quote unquote more exciting to watch and get more of the spotlight, if you will. So there's that. Ulises, you wanted to mention something about the bullpen, I presume. And the issues that the Rays are dealing with.
I do. And that's why I put an ellipsis for those of you who have YouTube. You can see the overlay, and I just put Waguespack ... And maybe if you have been on YouTube, maybe you saw that there was a typo, and I fixed it silently. But regardless of that, look, I understand what they want to do with Waguespack. You want length. You want somebody that can cover the innings like he literally did yesterday. I understand that.
He's our Austin Pruitt.
He's our Austin Pruitt, right? Or Andy Sonnenstein 10.
Yeah.
However, I mean, you got to have some clean innings. And thus far in his 3 appearances, this is how ugly it's been. 1 inning, 8 batters faced, 2 runs. The second one, 2 innings, 10 batters faced, 2 runs. The next one, 3 innings, 16 batters faced, 2 runs. Every single one has had a walk. 4 walks, 1 walk, 3 walks. I know people are going to be like, yeah, but he misses bats, man. 2 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts. Like, he misses bats. That's a good quality. That's a good quality. You're right. Yeah. It ain't the only quality, though. It can't be the main quality when the guy out there is really not providing scoreless innings. And then the next obvious question would be, okay, well, who would you send him down for? And who would you bring up? Kevin Kelly. And then the next question would be like, well, Kevin Kelly doesn't do multi-innings. And I will tell you, you're wrong. You're wrong. Because in 57 games that he pitched last year, Kevin Kelly had 23 games where he pitched more than one inning. So, look, we saw what Kevin Kelly did. I understand what you want with Waguespack. Maybe Waguespack with the options might be a little bit iffy, but he does have options, actually. I just checked. He does have options. So you don't have to, just because you bring him down doesn't mean that you lose Waguespack. Right. I think it's maybe time for that conversation where you need to kind of shake up that bullpen.
Yeah, that is something that it's not like this bullpen entering the season is going to be the bullpen that ends the season as much as we thought entering the season that, oh, yeah, great A, we're good to go. Because over the years, how many times have the Rays made maneuvers and shuffles in season with the bullpen? I can't recall if it would be this early on, but seemingly by May, mid-May, June, you start to see some new faces. So maybe it's something of, let's give it another week, let's give it another 2 weeks and reassess from there. But to your point, I think there are options in the minors that are intriguing and that I would like to see at the big league level if given that opportunity, i.e. Kevin Kelly, of course. We know what he can do. We've seen what he can do. I think he can continue to do what he did last year, but Jacob Lopez, that's a name. Manny Rodriguez, that's a name. Colby White, that's a name. There's guys out there. And not to say that, the Rays DFA or trade one of these other guys to acquire someone else. I mean, who pitched the ninth inning for the Angels last night? Hunter Strickland, a one-time Ray. he wasn't a Ray, I don't think, that long, and then they moved off of him, even if he was successful.
Yeah, no. Yeah, wow. Hunter Strickland, I think he was with the team in 2020. So he could have gotten a ring with the Rays if they had won.
Now, devil's advocate with Waguespack, maybe the Rays are saying, okay, coming back from playing overseas, it still takes a little bit more time to marinate. We like what he does with missing bats, and we think Kyle Snyder can be the pitching whisperer because of that height and that length, and he'll get it figured out before the end of the year.
Yeah, that's understandable because Kyle has shown time and time again that he can do that. But it's also more than Kyle, right? It's the organization, right? It's what the information that they have that they can provide. Like that also comes from the front office and then down into all the leagues. So not necessarily he has to be in the majors to work on stuff. Like he could be sent down. I think the only thing with him is he's a veteran. He can provide you length and he misses bats. So they like all of those things. And if he can put it together, he can be a really good option for the Rays down in like the B squad, C squad of the bullpen, which once the bullpen starts to click like we thought it could before the season, it's going to be a really, really good bullpen. But right now it just doesn't have it. And Waguespack, again, he hasn't been facing like crazy offenses. I know maybe I'm biased, but Blue Jays, Rockies, and the Angels, like it's not the 27 Yankees. Like it's not really, right? Like I know the Jays have, but
I guess I would say the Blue Jays do have a solid lineup. Okay. I will give them that. Anything can happen in Colorado. And then the Angels are just on a heater right now.
How much of a leash do you think he'll get?
Maybe a couple more weeks.
Okay, so a couple more weeks would be like 3, 4, 5 more outings.
May perhaps.
Okay, 5 more outings, and if it still kind of looks like this, double the amount
to make a maneuver. And it also depends, I guess, on how many of those games have the Rays won and lost. If they are just tanking and going on like a 1-for-9 spell, then you probably have to shake it up.
Fair enough.
But there was talk about like, hey, the Rays like Waguespack. He might find a way to inch into the rotation to start the year. So
yeah,
I think he could be one of those test cases of we want to keep him around.
And by the way, I disagree. Evan Klosker, buddy, had this tweet, and I thought it was so funny. He said, Mike Trout looking to single-handedly beat the Rays tonight. Might want to just walk the guy next time. And he says, I lied. It's a two-man show with Ward. So
Yeah.
that's our buddy.
Well, that was the thing. There was a point in the game where I think the Angels had runners at second and third, and the Rays could have walked Trout, just take the bat out of his hands. So maybe that's something to consider. Look, I just think it's a weird time with being on the West Coast. You had a very emotional and physically and mentally exhausting series with the Rockies. And I think maybe some of that transferred over, some lag as you're continuing to travel on the West Coast. So this might be just a game you flush and you come back and figure things out. But good stuff on the bullpen. I'm sure the listeners have lots of thoughts on that. We will wrap up here, but first we have to tell you something important. That is this: spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. So don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your prize picks entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and add them to your prize pick entries today. Prize Picks, if you didn't know, has something for every single sports fan: baseball, basketball, League of Legends, and everything in between. You know the names: Ohtani, McDavid, LeBron, Yandy Diaz, perhaps. You can get all that in the same entry. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for a first deposit match up to $100. I'll repeat it again. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for a first deposit match up to $100. Okay, Ulises, wrapping up here. I want to play a little game, and this is just off the cuff. As I was looking into some of the numbers for the Rays, 11 games in. So that is, what? If my math's correct, like 1/15th, 1/16th of the season. Marathon, not a sprint. I want you to answer fair or foul. And I'm going to give you some team numbers. And if you think the Rays are better and will finish the season better than what these numbers show right now, you say fair. If you think the Rays are, that's who they are, or worse, you say foul. So, for example, Anthony Rendon, 3 for 5, fair or foul? You would say foul. He's not going to go 3 for 5, every game the rest of this season. 162 average, you might say fair on that, depending on how he performs going forward. So, little test case here. The Rays right now are 17th in all of baseball in team OPS at 685. Fair or foul? In other words, do you think that they finished the season with a higher team OPS than either that number or where they rank in the team rankings, or lower?
I'm going to say foul because I think they will be better. Is that how you want us to play the game?
Okay. Correct.
Yeah, so I'd say foul. 17th, that is, look, 2022, they were around 15th. So, and we remember that offense in 2022, it was mediocre. And that's what 15 out of 30 is, mediocre. So right now, they're 2 notches below that. I don't think so. I think this team has way more. I think this team is missing Josh Lowe, who was a tremendous player last year. They're missing Jonathan Aranda, who, although hasn't clicked in MLB yet, they're
missing Johnny DeLuca, who can provide some action as well and bring some spunk.
I think foul. Foul.
Yeah. They are 19th in team homers right now. They have 9. Fair or foul? 19th in team home runs.
I'm going with foul, but a slight foul. Like that foul that you're like, is it going to hit? Oh, okay. No, it didn't hit.
Okay. So you think that they'll finish like 16th or 17th in home runs?
Yeah, in the teens for sure.
They're not going to finish 3rd or 4th or 8th.
They're not going top 10 on this one, but they're better than 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're 4th in all of baseball presently in stolen bases. Fair or foul?
So fair.
Yeah.
So fair.
I agree.
I think really by the end of the season, they're going to still be top 3. I mean, this
Yeah.
team has really shown that they not only that they have the skill level to do so, but they want to do so.
Okay. No, I'm with you. Although it's gonna be tough to keep up with the Reds. They have 22 stolen bases as a team, and I think
Amazing.
one fewer game, 10 games. But I'm with you. I think at least top 5, if not top 3 for stolen bases, especially as Josh Lowe comes back into the fold and Johnny DeLuca comes back into the fold. Aranda's not running it at all, but you get the point with
Yeah.
that. And we see a certain aggressive nature with the Rays so far in the early going. The Rays also are 17th in runs scored. They have 45 to this point. Fair or foul?
Slightly foul. Slightly foul. I see them in the teens, 13, 12. But yeah, 17th seems a bit low, especially with what you want for this team to do throughout the season. So I'm gonna go with foul.
Okay. Last two here. Pitching metrics. I think I know where you're going to go, but the Rays are 28th in team ERA, standing at 5.46. Fair or foul?
Is that the whole staff or just the bullpen?
The whole staff.
That's ugly. That's honestly carried by the bullpen. I'm gonna go foul. Like this team is built on pitching, so it's just a bad stretch for the bullpen and a couple of bad innings from the starter. So I'm gonna go.
I tell you what, if they finish bottom 5 in ERA, they're not making the playoffs.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
They might not win 84 games at that point.
Yeah. Exactly.
And at the end of the day, real talk here, the Rays are probably closer to the 2022 team than the 23 or 21 team. That's probably what we should be measuring things on.
I don't.
Which isn't terrible, you know. Hey, there's always tough seasons here and there.
It's not terrible. Okay, we have a wild card banner for 2022 up at the Trop, don't we, fellas?
Yep. And it's a big one.
It's a big banner. Look, I don't think people want to admit that, especially like the seal clap race type fans that think everything is great. They don't want to have that conversation. But this team, I think you hit it right there. Like this team right now is closer to the 2022 than the 2023 or 21 team.
No Wander, no McClanahan, no Glasnow, no a lot of others. That might be what you get. That might be the order here. Last one, 26th in WHIP across baseball. They have a 146 number attached to that. Fair or foul?
That's foul, and that's gonna get better with when the arms come in. I think the guys just need to get a little bit warm up. The bullpen, again, Waguespack, I like I mentioned, like at least one walk every time he's been up there. So it's just the lack of control. I think that can get better as time moves on, and we saw that last year. The bullpen really started to click like end of June, early July.
Yeah.
So again. 11 games in, let's do the math here. 11 divided by 162 is exactly 0.06. So, okay, 6.7% of the season. 6.7. So let's just round it out. 7% of the season, people. Everything is fine. Too early to make big, predictions because of what we've seen.
That is fair. On the mound tonight, Aaron Savali versus Patrick Sandoval. And I get a sneaking suspicion that things could be maybe a troubling for the Rays because Sandoval, soft tossing lefty, ground balls, soft contact.
Oh boy.
According to Savani, he's got like 6 pitches. I mean, he uses 4 of them, maybe 5 primarily. But it's the Dane Dunning effect. It's it's hard to explain. I think Austin Voth was a righty, but there are some guys that
Martin Perez.
Yeah, that one as well.
Yeah.
So watch out, but you got it. Hey, games have to be played in person. I'll be curious to see who catches for Savali. I wonder if it'll be Rortvet because of his amazing framing ability and strike
call.
stealing ability. So that remains to be seen. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on Wednesday.